Hello, am I audible? Please confirm in chat once. All right. Uh, thank you, Satyam. Sorry, Satya, not Satyam. All right. Fine. So today's webinar is regarding the AWS. Okay. So we'll be talking about the AWS. So what is cloud computing? Okay. Types of cloud computing. So we have three major cloud providers, right? So we have AWS, Azure, and GCP. So we'll be having the webinars for all three. But in today's webinar, we'll focus more on AWS. Yeah. Thanks, Shahzad Khan. All right. So first, let me. So today's agenda is AWS. Okay, so we'll be exploring more about what is the AWS. Okay, what are different services is being offered by the AWS. The first of all, we'll understand what is cloud computing. Okay, so let me just give you the idea of what is cloud computing. I'll not be giving any definition as such. Okay, we'll try to understand this in terms of examples. So I hope you have used the Google Drive, right? My picture is struck. Let me just check. Okay, can you just confirm now, Shahzad Khan? So I think like I am audible as well as clearly visible. Yes. All right. So first, let's talk about basics of cloud computing. Okay. So let me just give few examples. I hope you all have used Google Drive, right? So let me just take few examples, okay, just to explain like what actually the cloud is and how it looks. So if I just go to the Google Drive, okay, so Google Drive is one of the best example, okay, just to understand like how the cloud computing is working. So you may have used the Google Drive. So we generally use the Google Drive to store our files, right? It could be all the data. I mean, like irrespective of whatever the data you're using it. So if I want to store something over the cloud, okay. So why I'm referring cloud here? Because this cloud is so this Google Drive is somewhere on the cloud. Okay, when I say somewhere on the cloud, so whatever the data that is being stored, okay, in the drive, it's not in our physical machine. So if I want to store something over the cloud, when I say cloud, it's not there in our physical machine. So Google has hosted some of the servers where I can just store this, store our data in the Google Drive. So if I just get into the Google Drive, okay, so this is my drive here. So I can just create all the files, folders. I can upload the files directly from here, right? Directly I can just create a Google Sheets or whatever I want to create it, right? So there are the different Google products we have. So here, so we have an upload option, right? So if I just get into the file uploads, I can directly upload some of the data into my Google Drive. And whatever the data I have uploaded so far, okay, so this data is not physically there in my system, right? So because, so here, if I want to access this Python basics, so it's, this data is in somewhere in the cloud. So when I say cloud, it has some storage service, right, that is being hosted by the Google, and there this data has been stored somewhere, right? And here, even you can just see the storage, right? So there is a cloud icon, you can see the storage, and it's telling like 15.07 GB has been used, right? And if I just run out of this storage, so then I need to buy something called Google One. Okay, so Google One is one of the service. Okay, so if I just go to the Google One, it's a save cloud storage. Okay, so where it provides you the different plans, okay, in terms of like storage. Okay, if I just get into this overview, so here I'll get the various plans. Okay, like right now if I want to go to the basic, so it's telling like I need to pay 130 rupees per month, okay, for the 100 GB. Okay, so whatever you are seeing here is just a free storage. Okay, it's provided by the Google. So as soon as you register your account in the Google, right, you create your Gmail and stuff, and so this is what the free storage will be getting it. And apart from that, so if you want to increase your storage, okay, some point of time you'll run out of the storage. Okay, if you are extensively using the laptop, I mean like the storage, you're creating some files, okay, or just pushing that into Google Drive, right? So you'll just run out of the space, then of course you need to buy this subscriptions, okay, or else you need to create a new account. So here, so 130 rupees per month, they provide 100 GB, right? So 650 again 2 TB, and this is 1950 rupees per month for the 2 DB plus some Gemini advanced LLM, right? So this is what the different features. So why I'm telling this is because, so whatever the storage I'm opting, okay, again it's not in our physical machine. So like, I'll get the 100 GB storage, and every month I need to pay for that, okay? And so this is one of the service in the cloud. Okay, so now if I just tell what is the definition of the cloud computing, so I can just tell it is a delivery of a computing services over the internet. Okay, so when I say computing services, so it could be a compute. When I say compute, it could be you want virtual laptop, okay, that is hosted on some server, like I want to have the Mac, or I want some Linux machine, I want some Windows machine over the internet. Okay, so I want to access that, so I can just use that service. Okay, so compute is one of the service. So storage is one of the service. Okay, whatever right now you have discussed, so it's one of the storage service. I want some storage over the internet. Okay, I can just access that over the internet, and there are some cloud providers. Okay, so I'll come to that. So we have compute, we have service, we have storage, we have networking also. Okay, we have databases also, we have software also. Okay, there are n number of services. So when I say service, it's like a bundle. I mean, like you'll get everything over the cloud. Okay. So just to keep it simple, you can just think of as a storage, because this we use this frequently. And the compute, in case if you want to have the Linux machine, you want to have some Windows machine or any other machines, I want to use that. If you don't have that physically with you, of course you can just buy or rent over the internet, right, using the cloud providers. And apart from that, we get the databases. Okay, so we generally install the databases in our machine, right? MySQL, SQL Server, RDBMS. But I don't want that into a machine. I want to purchase over the cloud. Okay, so over the internet, so yes, I can just do that, right? So this is what the cloud computing is. Okay, if I want to just tell the definition, okay, what is cloud computing? So cloud computing is the delivery of computing services over the internet. Okay, so services can be anything. Just give me a second, I'll just connect to my charger. All right. So I'm audible. Please confirm. Shehzad Khan. Yes, I think I'm audible. Okay, just check with your connection. Okay, can just try uh, getting into the just try get into webinar using the YouTube or any other platform. Okay, use Euron platform. Yeah, thanks. Okay. All right. So I was into services, right? So what is cloud computing? So I can just define a cloud computing is the a delivery of a computing services over the internet. So when I say services, it could be a storage, it could be compute, it could be software, right? It could be anything. Okay. And so there are. So what are the services I just listed? Okay. So it's provided by the cloud service providers. Okay. So we generally call it cloud service providers, and we have three cloud service providers. That is AWS. Okay, so if I just show you, this is the AWS, right? So this is the AWS. So we have GCP, that is Google Cloud Provider, okay, Google Cloud Platform, and we have the Azure. Okay, so these are the three cloud services. Okay, they are the providers. So in today's webinar, we'll focus more on the AWS. Okay, so AWS is one of the popular cloud service providers, and if you just get into their site, okay, so you can see the products, okay, solutions, pricing. It's again a different topic to be discussed. I mean, like if you want to explore the AWS, we have n number of certifications with respect to with respect to like what you want to be, what you want to do it, right? In case you want to get into the analytics, okay, we have the different services. If you want to get into big data, we have. If you want to get into data science or the generative AI, we have the different services and different certification, different levels of certifications, right? So now let me just get into the console. Okay, so already I've just signed up here. You'll get a free account. I mean, like you can just register it for the free. So let me just get into this. Let me enter the code. All right. So once you get into this AWS, okay. So as I told you, so AWS is a cloud service provider, and so when I say service, here you can see the n number of services, right? So with respect to analytics, if I click on analytics, you can see Athena. We have something called Cloud Search, okay, Data Exchange, Amazon Data Zone, okay, EMR, okay. If I get into the blockchain, again the different services. We click on compute, okay. Compute is most popular, okay. So compute is it's similar to the your physical laptop, right? If you want to host that virtually over the cloud, so I can just use the EC2 machine, which is a virtual server in the cloud, right? So next we have the databases. Okay, I can create SQL and NoSQL databases over the internet. When I say over the internet, of course, using the cloud service providers, right? So we have DynamoDB, we have Amazon MemoriDB, okay, Elastic. Cache. Okay, so we have developer tools, game development, Internet of Things, okay, machine learning. You can see almost all the domains here, right? So irrespective of whatever you want to build it, so everything from A to Z, okay, you'll be getting everything from the cloud. Okay, so here I'll just give you the idea of the services. Okay, so I'll be showing you some of the services like IAM. Okay, we'll discuss a bit of IAM. We'll see what is EC2, right? And we'll be seeing some of the examples for the S3, and I'll be using the S3 to host static website. Okay, so just to show you the demonstration like how the S3 works. Okay, what are the different applications we can just make use of S3, right? So I'll be showing that. Fine. Yeah, so once you get into the AWS, okay, so AWS, you can create a account for free. Okay, and but here you need to enter your debit or credit card details. Once you're done with the registration, the process is very simple. So just need to enter all your basic details, enter your debit and credit card, then you'll be getting a free account. If you want to create a free account, you can just directly search it like free, AWS free account here, right? So here you can see start with a free tier account. So here you can just enter all your details, And so inside the free tier, so similar to the Google, right? For example, storage, I got a 15 GB, right? Similarly, whatever the services you want to access in the AWS, so you can just access for the free. When I say free, it completely depends on like different services. So here also you can see with respect to the compute, okay, I can use this EC2 service for the 750 hours. Okay, it's for free. It's under the free service. So you have a storage service like S3. Okay, I can use up to 5 GB. Okay, next we have a database service, like I can use it for free 750 hours. Okay, so you can see the n number of services and what are the in terms of like free access. So like what I'll be getting it, you can just check everything that inside the AWS free trade. And so inside the free version you'll be getting almost all the services for the limited time, or for the limited storage, in terms of storage, in terms of whatever the services you, it completely depends. Okay, in case we are going with the services like EC2, you'll get in terms of hours. Okay, so if you're getting into some storage, we're getting in terms of storage. Okay, so 5 GB you can just access it for the free, right? So now one of the popular service inside the AWS, we have something called EC2 and IAM. Okay, so before getting into that, okay, I was into cloud computing, right? So I hope you got an idea what is cloud computing. So cloud computing is just a delivery of all the computing services over the internet. So now there are different types of cloud computing. Okay, so we have something called public cloud. Let me just write down that. Okay, so there are different types of cloud computing. So we have something called public. We have something called uh, public cloud. We have private cloud. So then we have hybrid cloud, and apart from that we have something called community cloud and the multi cloud. Okay, let's focus on this three. So when I say a public cloud, okay, so in the public cloud, so all this computing resources, okay, so all the computing resources are managed by the cloud service provider. Okay, so when I say cloud service provider, so again it could be AWS, right, Azure, and GCP. Okay, so whatever the services I want, okay, in terms of storage, in terms of compute, databases, so everything can be created or operated or managed. Okay, so it's publicly available. So we generally call that as a public cloud. Okay, so next we have the private cloud. So when I say private cloud, so this is managed by so when I say a private cloud, so this is, it's also called as internal cloud. Okay, so it's also called as internal cloud, or we can say a corporate cloud. Corporate cloud, and this cloud is basically operated by the organizations. Okay, so when I say organizations, companies, okay, so where they have their internal services. Okay, they have internal storage, they have internal compute services. Okay, so everything's managed by the organizations. That's called private cloud. So we have a hybrid cloud, which is a combination of both public plus private. Okay, so based on the use cases, so people when get into the public cloud, okay, if there's a startup or they are running their own business, okay, they can create all those services using the AWS, Azure, or GCP, right? If the bigger organizations, okay, of course they have their internal cloud. Okay, so everything is like banking, right? So they have their own databases. Okay, so all compute systems, okay, so which is running on their servers. So sometimes banking also has the hybrid cloud. Okay, so some part will be hosted their data on the cloud, and some have their private. Okay, so the company's details and all those things can be hosted within their on premises, right? So this is the three different types of cloud we have. Okay, we have a public cloud, private cloud, and the AWS cloud. Sorry, hybrid cloud, and the AWS comes under the public. Okay, because so I just showed you the list of services, right? So if you want to create any of the services, so I can just use the AWS to create those services. So now let me just get into the AWS and show you some of the examples. So here we have a popular service called ES3. Okay, so ES3 is a storage service. So what is storage service? If I want to store some files in the AWS, so I can just use this S3 service. It's similar to the Google Drive. Sorry, Google Drive, right? So if you want to store something over the Google Drive, you'll just click on file, get, upload, and you'll be the data will be stored over the cloud. So similarly, here you'll be creating something called buckets. Okay, so buckets is just a container. Okay, where you will be uploading all your data files. Let me just give one example. So here we have like create bucket option. Okay, so if I click on the create bucket, so I need to just tell what is the bucket name. I'll just tell this is my test Euron web test. Okay, so this is my bucket name, and whatever the bucket name right now I'm giving, it's a globally unique. I mean, like you can't create with the same name. Okay, so even you can just read this here, right? So bucket name must be unique within the global namespace, and this is what the bucket name is. And so here I can just click on create bucket. So once I click on create bucket, so now this bucket, I mean the container will get created, and within that I can just start uploading the data. Okay, so we have n number of buckets. So let me just look for the bucket which I've just created, that is Euron web test. Let me just click onto that, and here I have an option to upload it. Okay, let me click on upload, and here add files, and assume like I just want to upload something like this dog image. Let me just upload that. Okay, so and click on upload. So now this data is uploaded to the cloud. I mean, like I can just access this if I just close this. And so let me just go back. Okay, this is my buckets. Okay, so here this is the bucket which I've just created called Euron web test, and this is my dog image. Let me just click onto that. This is my object. We generally call this as an object. Okay, so what is the object? The files which you're uploading inside the bucket. And if I want to access this, I can click onto this open here, then directly I can just access those files, right? So this is the a file which I've just uploaded inside the AWS, right? That is in the S3 service. So now, even we can use this ES3 to host the website. Okay, so like static websites. Okay, let me just show one of the application. Let me just go to the AWS S3 and click on create bucket once again. And let me just show you how to create a static website. Okay, so I have the HTML file. Let me just upload that HTML file, and so I can just use that HTML file to host the static website using the S3. So what I'm doing, let me just create a new bucket. I'll just tell Euron static. Okay, static website, and here let me just scroll down and click on create bucket. Okay, so this is my Euron static website, and within that, let me just click on upload, and I'll add HTML. Okay, I have the test HTML page. This is my HTML page. Let me just upload that, and let me just upload this. Okay, so now inside the bucket, I have this HTML page. Okay, so let me just close this. So now, if you get into this something called access points, okay, not access points. Yeah, properties. If you get into the property sections, see again, you'll be seeing so many tabs and so many clicks. Okay, so many drop downs. So again, this you'll be learning by practice. Okay, I mean, like if you start using the cloud, start using the services, okay, then you understand. Okay, and everything is very simple. I mean, like when you once you understand like why we're doing this, and what are the options it's made available to you. So if you know those things, then it's easy to use. Okay, so unless you don't know how to access it, okay, if you don't know what is bucket, if you don't know what is S3, you don't know how to upload it, then it is difficult to understand. But if you know how to perform all those things at least once or twice, then automatically understand the other things. Okay, so of course you'll not be able to learn everything at one go. Okay, because so it's not only about uploading the files. Okay, so I just showed you how to upload the file, but apart from that, if you like one of the example I'm right now giving it, like to create a static website, right? So it's one of the application of S3 bucket. Okay, so apart from that, we have a different properties. Okay, you can see we have some concept of versioning. Okay, so we have something called encryption. We have something called storage service. I mean, like whatever the data we are uploading into our bucket. Okay, so we have something called storage classes. Okay, how we are storing the data. Okay, because some of the data which we are dumping it just dump will not be using that frequently. Okay, so based on the use cases, again we have is different storage plans. Okay, so this is what again I'm just showing you the usage of the AWS. I mean, like the applications. Okay, okay, all right, let me just go back to your objects. I have uploaded the index.html. So now if I just go to the properties, and inside the properties we have an option called static website hosting. Okay, let me just click on edit here, and here I want to enable this static website hosting. And here it's telling me what is the document I need to refer inside the bucket so that it will be hosted. So already have uploaded called index.html. Let me just upload that index.html. And here so let me just click on save changes. Okay, let me just click on save changes. So as soon as you click on save changes, now you'll be getting a link. Let me just check. Yeah, if you just scroll down, you can see now I'm getting this bucket website endpoint. Let me just copy that. And if I try to run this, I'm getting access denied because I want to make this public bucket. Okay, unless I make it public, I'll not able to access. Okay, so whenever you're getting 403 forbidden, I mean, like, it's not accessible publicly. Okay, so for that we need to make few settings. So if you get into this permissions, so here we have like block public access. So let me just click on edit, and let me just remove this settings, save changes. Let me click on confirm, and click on confirm. Okay, now let me just go back to this properties, copy this link once again, and let me just paste it. Okay, I'm still getting this access denied, so I need to attach a permissions. Okay, let me just go here, and let me create a bucket policy. So you can see, so this is how you need to keep on solving. Okay, because in the cloud, unless you don't know like what are the further steps. Okay, I mean, like, you'll not be learning that at one go. Okay, you need to understand the service, all about the service. Okay, then only you'll able to perform, I mean, like, whatever the task is. Okay, because right now I'm getting 403 forbidden. It means that I'm not able to access that particular page, right? So let me just refresh if it is reflected. uh, uh, uh. Okay, so I need to provide the policy for that. Okay, let me just go here and click on policy generator. I want to give this for the S3 bucket policy. uh, Principal is star, and we have something called get bucket objects, get access to bucket object, get object, uh, and I want this ARN. So again, so this you'll not be understanding unless you don't know like what is happening here, what is ARN, what is principles. We'll be learning that in the courses. Okay, let me just go and paste this ARN and click on add statement, generate policy. So okay, so let me just copy this policy over here. Action does not apply to any resources in the statement. uh, S3 allow star get object. Yeah, let me just, I'm policy in the sense like I'm just giving a permission to get the objects from the bucket. Okay, so in simple terms, let me click on save changes now. So policy has invalid response, invalid resource. All right, so let me just go to the here. Let me just refresh now. Yeah, so you can see this is what the website I got it. Okay, so welcome to Euron. So this is a static website that is being hosted using the S3. Okay, So you can see just within a 5 minutes, okay, I can just host the static website. So only thing I have uploaded is the index.html. Okay, so even you can upload the CSS. Okay, what is static? I mean, like it's not dynamic in the sense like you can add all this here. Just a one single page here. Okay, so if you want to quickly shade that any static page, okay, so with your team, okay, you can just upload the index.html or CSS inside the bucket and just go and enable the static website property and try to add the policies means permissions. Okay, and make this bucket publicly accessible. Okay, so yes, you can just access the static website, right? So right now this is hosted inside the AWS, right? So it's not secure. I mean, like just to I just wanted to show you the demo. Okay, so using S3, this is what we can do it. Okay, so this was just quick application of S3, right? And so this is one of the service. Let me just close this now. Again, like it's works similar to the folder structure, okay, how we have in our laptops, right? So if you want to delete something, yes, you can just delete it, select the bucket, and you can just empty the bucket. So all the objects will get deleted. Okay, you can delete the buckets, right? So this is how it basically works. All right, so this is one of the service, right? So you can see within the clicks we will able to host the static website using the S3 bucket. Okay, so let me just show you some other services. So this way you have the n number of services. Okay, so S3 is a storage service. Okay, if I just get into this services sections, and if I click on storage here, if I get into the storage, so S3 is one of the service, okay. But apart from this S3, so we have something called EFS, that is managed file storage for EC2. We have something called FSX. We have something called S3 Glacier. We have storage gateway, okay. So we have various storage services provided by the AWS. So S3 is one of the popular, okay. You can go and check the S3 use cases, okay. So if I just check the use cases, can see static website we just showed you, right? This is one of the example. Okay, we can do the data backup. Okay, if you want to store some huge amount of data over the cloud, okay, we can use that S3 as a data backup, data archiving, data storage, content distributions, okay, data lakes. Okay, so most of the companies used S3 for the storage. Okay, and if you can go and check their what case studies, I mean, like how the various companies are using the S3. Okay, so we have the case studies. Okay, you can just explore all those things. Fine, so this is all about S3. So now let me just share you the other service. Okay, if I just go to the compute, so compute is inside the compute we have something called EC2. So EC2 is it's like a virtual laptop, okay, over the internet. Okay, you can just create whatever this operating system you need, okay, with respect to whatever uh, the configurations. With any of the configurations you can just try creating the virtual laptop, okay, so on the internet. So here let me just go and check, show you how to create any of the instance. Okay, we call this as an instance. So instance in the sense like it's just a name. Okay, EC2 instance, we call it EC2 instance, or you can say a virtual server, okay, in the cloud. Fine, so let me just show you how to create that. Okay, if I get into this launch instance, so this is my launch instance. Okay, so almost all the services looks like a form. Okay, I mean, like you need to just enter we have drop downs. Okay, just you need to select the various options. So now I want to create a Linux machine. Okay, so I want to access the Linux machine. So I'll just so this is what the option I'm getting it, right? So if I just go, I'll show you from scratch. Okay, if I into the AWS, I want to create a Linux machine. So we have a service called EC2. Let me just get into the EC2. And once you get into EC2, of course, we'll have an options where I can just launch the new instance. Let me click on launch instance here. Okay, so here I need to give the name of the instance. I'll just tell test Euron. All right, and here I need to select the application on operating systems. So what is the operating system I need, whether it's Linux, Mac, Ubuntu, Windows, or Red Hat, okay, or whatever the operating systems I need. Okay, I'll go with the Amazon Linux, and some of them are by default selected. Okay, when I say by default selected, based on the account level. I mean, right now I'm in the free version, right? So based on the free account, okay, so some of the sections are by default selected. Like Amazon Linux comes with uh, less configuration, as well as it's meant for the practice. Okay, so so here Amazon Linux has been selected by default. In case we want any other operating system like Windows, Ubuntu, we can just select it from here, right? So next, so what kind of instance type? Okay, so here we have a concept of called instance type. What is the meaning of instance type? Basically the configurations, like what, how much CPU you need, what is the memory required. Okay, so almost everything related to the configurations. Okay, so in simple terms, what is the memory, what is CPU, and what is the how many cores it required for this machine. Okay, so whenever you're purchasing a laptop, you're gonna see all this configuration, right? It's similar, all the configuration you can just handle it from here, but everything is virtual. Okay, you're not able to physically test that, but you can access that machine directly from the internet, right? All right, so now let me just select with the default one, that is T2 micro. So here I have one CPU, I'll get one CPU and I'll get 1 GB memory, right? And here we have the instance types. I mean, like if you click on info here, okay, if you click on info, and you can just get into this Amazon EC2 instance type. So here we have a n number of instance types. Okay, can see. So if I click on instance type, okay, what is instance type? I mean, like whatever the configurations you're selecting it, right? So I need to select based on our requirement again. Okay, so for example, I want to use this machine for balance of compute. I mean, like I need a balance of all this. Okay, compute, memory, and networking. Then I can go with this general purpose. Okay, so again we have something called compute optimized. So right now I'm focused more on the performance. Okay, in terms of processors, in terms of workloads. Okay, so high performance web servers, I want to host that. Okay, so then I need to go with the compute optimized. So then we have something called memory optimized. Okay, accelerated computing. Okay, so based on the requirement, you need to select this instance type. So I'm just going with the default one, that is a T2 micro. Okay, so next we have something called key pair. Okay, so what is the key pair? So key pair, if I want to connect to my machine, because once I launch this instance, it will be hosted over the cloud, and I want to connect to this particular instance, okay, through my local machine. So I can just connect it with help of key pair. Okay, so it is like you can say ID as well as password. Okay, with the help of this, I can just connect to my machine. Okay, let me just go with this the key pair which I have just selected. I have some key pair called Imran. Let me just select that. All right, so next is network settings. Okay, so network settings is very important because whatever the machine you have created, right, the EC2 instance, so I need to connect to that. Okay, so all this connection parameters is handled by the network settings. So we generally call that as the inbound rules and outbound rules. I need to define. Okay, so what are the IP addresses, or from where I can just connect to this instance. Okay, so or from the instance from where I can just connect, there's an inbound and outbound rules. Okay, so inbound in the sense like from the outside, how I can connect to my EC2 machine, and we have a outbound rules. Okay, from my EC2 machine, can I connect to the outside world? Okay, so I need to define all those rules. So that can be done using this network settings. Okay, and here that's what. So if I want to make a secure connection to my machine, so I'm just ticking that by default, that is allow SSH traffic. If I want to connect from the internet, that is allow HTTPS traffic from the internet, right? Let me just give this. Okay, if I want to connect to my machine through our internet, that is through the HTTPS as well as HTTP, I can just go with this option. So next is storage, because of course machine has the storage as well. So I'm going with the default one, that is 8 GB. Okay, so even we can just attach the external storage. We call that as a elastic block storage. So it's like attachment. Okay, extra storage attachments. Okay, so we have all those services. So next, yes, this is what the options I need to select. So if you just enter the name, rest everything is by default selected. Okay, so only need to just select what is the key pair value here, like how I need to connect to my machine, and rest everything is by default selected. Let me click on launch instance. So as soon as you click on launch instance, so my machine will start. Okay, within a few seconds. Okay, can see instance initiated, successful initiated. If I go back to my instances, so here I can see all the instances that is being running. Okay, so this is my test Euron which I've just created. If I get into this instance, I can see all the settings with respect to this machine. Okay, I can see what is the public IP address. Okay, private. I can even see the details of all the configurations which I've just selected. Okay, so there are a number of settings here. And if I want to connect to my this machine, so we have a connect option. So here I can just connect it. Okay, so whether I need to connect using there are the different ways again. Let me just show you the quick way. Okay, so we have something called EC2 Instance Connect. We click on connect. So now my machine will get started. So I can just start using the machine over here. Okay. So now you can see right now it's establishing connection. So once it's done, so I can just start working with the machine. Okay. Of course, it's even see here the interface is totally different. Okay. So you'll see the CLI, but if you want to have similar like how you open your laptop, okay, I want to see the same logos and same drag and drop all the interface. Okay, we have the RDP. Okay, so with help of RDP, you can just try to connect to the machine. Okay, it will look similar to the your laptop. Okay, and so here I can just all write all sorts of comments whatever I want to work with. Okay, so if you want to create some files, okay, like touch index.html. So all this file is being created inside this machine, okay, inside the virtual machine. So if I just do ls, you can see index.html got created. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, right now this is what the public IP address and the private IP address. So this is one of the option, okay, to connect it. So we have a different options, like I can do SSH. Okay, so I can just use my command prompt to connect to my machine. So even we have something called putty. Okay, so all these are clients, okay, which help us to make a connection to my EC2 machines. Okay, so here we have EC2 console. With help of console you can just, okay, there are different ways to connect my machine, right? So this is done. Let me just close this. So I'll show you one of the application. Okay, so assume like I want to run again the website. Okay, so it's a simple website. I just wanted to show you how we can just create a web server. Okay, so what I can do is, let me just first delete this instance. Let me just go back. And the good practice is, once you're done with the practice, okay, so make sure to delete all your services, or else there is some, even though we are in the free account, but it's good practice to delete all your services once it's done. Okay, okay, let me click on launch instance. I just want to show you one of the application. Okay, so where I'm just hosting the website. Okay, so let me just create one more. It's called test Euron web server. So I'll go with Amazon Linux. So we know all the settings now, so I'll just go with the this. And in the advanced details, okay, so we have something called user data. So what is this user data? So this user data is like, once as soon as I start my machine, okay, so I'm just telling the machine to run this. Okay, run this whatever I'm just mentioning inside the user data. Try to implement all those things once I start my machine. So here I'm just passing some of the commands, okay, bash commands. So where I'm just installing the http server and all its necessary packages. And I just wanted to print hello world and the IP address of the machine. Okay, so this is what I want to show up once I start with the machine. Fine. So let me just paste this and click on launch instance. So my instance will be launched within a seconds. Yeah, so you can see this has got launched. Let me just open that. So this is my machine, right? So this is my instance which I just created. If I just open the instance ID, so I can see this. And so here we have an option of public. Okay, so this public IP address. So even though it's launched, it will take some time to reflect, because right now maybe it's installing all the packages which I just told to install. Uh, these are the public address. Okay, I'm just copying that. I'm just pasted here. Let me just run this. If it is not running, so maybe we have missed something in the networking. Let me just go to networking. We have something called security groups, which basically defines the inbound and outbound rules. Let me edit this and try to add the rule. My IP address. Let me add HTTP. Anyway, okay. So let me just add. Yeah. So you can see I'm getting hello world from this. Okay. So after giving the permissions, I mean, like we have not defined this inbound rules. So now I'm able to access it from the internet. Okay. So it's not secure because it's HTTP. So this is what I'm getting it. Okay. So this is whatever the right now you're seeing it here. Okay. We have installed some of the packages like HTTP. Okay. Which basically creates a server. So this is running in the EC2 machine, right? So yes, so these are some of the examples. Okay, let me just go and shut all the services which I've just created. If I go to the instances and here, let me just select that. All right, so I just terminated. Fine. So this is with respect to the EC2. Okay. So similarly, I have just shown you the two services. So similarly, we have something called IAM. Okay. If you want to manage all, your entire account, okay, in terms of creating the users groups, right? So we have the identity and access management. So this is IAM dashboard. It's called Identity and Access Management Service. So this service is basically help us to create users, okay, roles, okay, policies, the permissions, okay, because whenever you're working or handling the root account, okay, so right now this is the root account. It's like the account which I was created from the scratch. So if you're creating it from scratch, it's called root account. And within the root account, if I want to give the access to this account, okay, I can't give the root account credentials to my team, right? So that's where I'll be creating the users roles, the policies, okay, permissions, okay. So I can just make use of those things and create that from here. I can just try to give the credentials to the team, right? So this is one of the service called IAM, okay. And apart from that, okay, so even we have the databases, okay. If I just get into this database, we have the popular service called RDS, okay. It's called Managed Relational Database Service. And here you can create any of the RDBMS, okay. So everything just you can just create everything in just in seconds, okay. If I click on create database, so whatever the databases you want to create it, okay, like I want to go with MySQL, okay, MariaDB, Postgres, Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, okay. So whatever the services you want to create it, so within a few clicks, okay, give all the settings and click on create, okay, automatically this server will get created and you can just connect it and do whatever you want to do, right? So so sometimes, like if you are building the website, okay, if you're and I mean, like you're a startup and you want to have this kind of services which is done at the back end, okay, in terms of storage, in terms of whatever you want to build it, you can directly start accessing the cloud services. And so this it's just an option, okay. So AWS is one of the cloud service provider. Again, it completely depends on your use cases, what are the uh, applications you're going to use it in your website. So apart from that, okay, so RDS is one of the popular one, okay. And so of course the machine learning, okay, if you click on the machine learning, we have Amazon Bedrock, okay. So this is used to build and scale the generative AI applications, okay. And here we have Amazon Augmented AI, okay. So almost all the services, okay, irrespective of whatever you want to create it from the scratch, so everything you can just do it from here, okay. We have SageMaker, which is quite popular for the building and training and deploying the machine learning models. Fine. So and so this is just I just wanted to give you an overview of how these things work, okay. So whenever you're getting into the cloud, and if you have any queries, just let me know in chat, okay, so that I can just take up some of the questions. And again, so if you want to I mean, like I just started with basics. I mean, like we get started with the AWS services. So we have just launched the AWS course here, okay. So inside this we are discussing all the services called EC2, S3, IAM, okay. So it's like a beginner course. So we keep on adding the modules almost all the modules. Okay, so because this is a beginner's course, we started with the very basics like IAM, S3 services, okay, how to create EC2 instances, RDS, okay, so all those things, and slowly we'll keep on adding the other services as well, right? So this is how it basically works, okay, because you can't learn everything at one go. And if you're looking for the certifications, okay, keeping that in mind, so whatever the services we're gonna discuss, okay, so everything with respect to the certification, the question that is being asked during the certification exams, okay. If you just go and check the AWS roadmap, okay, so this is the roadmap if you want to learn everything about the AWS. So we have a roadmap, okay. So what is the roadmap here? It's like a certification, okay, where you need to just get into their centers, okay. It's proctored exam. You need to write all this exam to get certified. So if I just open this in new image, so here we have like cloud practitioner. So whatever the course we have added inside the AWS master, okay, so it is more towards the cloud practitioner. So it's just the basics of all the services, okay. It's like getting started, okay. What is AWS, how the AWS works, what is IAM roles, how to create a users, how to play with the different services, okay, the very basic thing, okay. The basics of cloud computing, what is cloud computing, types of cloud computing. So we have something called software as a service, platform as a service, okay. What is this service offerings, okay. We'll be discussing all those things inside the cloud practitioner, which is like a foundational level, okay. And whenever you want to make a career in cloud, okay, I mean like with respect to AWS, Azure, or GCP, so this is how the path looks. I mean like so you need to start with the foundation, okay. Get the AWS cloud practitioner certified. I mean like then you can just go to the architect. So here we have the different certification, okay. We have a solution architect as well as a professional and the associate. Of course you need to start with the associate. So again it divided, okay. Can see we have the architect, we have the operations, we have the developer, okay. If you want to, if you are looking a career inside the developer, okay, we have the AWS certified developer, which is associate. So once you complete this, then you can go to the this option, okay. There's a professional one. Again, apart from that, again we have a specialty, okay. So with respect to the machine learning, with respect to the data analytics, with respect to the databases, okay, you can see Alexa skill builder, okay. So this is a specialty which you can do it. So but you need to start with the basics, okay. You directly can't jump to the machine learning and do it. Yes you can do, but that sort of experience and skill you should have to appear those exams, okay. So I'm not telling you can't directly write this. Yes you can write it, but it generally so when you are getting into this, you need to start with the foundational level, okay. So you should know the cloud practitioner. Of course you can't jump it here, because once you directly start using these services, you're not able to connect it. You don't know what is IAM, how this works, right? And what are the questions you're going to get it inside the exams is totally, I mean like it's all practical based, okay. It's not like you'll be just selecting the options, MCQs. No, it's not like that. It's proper proctored exams. We need to pay the fees and get certified, right? So this is how the AWS certification works. Yes, so let me know if you have any questions. So I'm let me just take some of the questions, then we can end it. Any questions? Let me know if you have any questions so that I can just take up. Initially there was a issue. Your screen was stuck. Okay, okay. Sorry, I think like my internet is working fine. So maybe sometimes we have that glitch. Okay. So Mayank is asking like I have okay, I have done BCom. Want to enter in IT industry. How to do the MTech in computer science after BCom? See, if you want to do the MTech in computer science, I think there are some prerequisites. Okay, it completely depends on the universities. Okay, where you're applying for. Generally, like if you're getting into MTech in the IT, so they prefer the bachelor degrees. Okay, at least in few subjects. I need to check. Okay, you can just send me this question in LinkedIn. I mean, like you can just send me this. I'll just check it and because generally, you should have the I mean, like there are some subjects which has to be there in your BCom. Sorry, not BCom, in your bachelor degree. So that need to be checked. Okay, in the but generally, MTech, the people have done the BTech as well as the other degrees. Okay, so if they have certain subjects which is aligned with their MTech syllabus, so it completely depends on the universities. Okay, because I don't know from where you are in. If you want to do the MTech, it completely depends on in which university. Okay, so there could be some online universities also. Okay, where they provide. So it completely depends. That need to be checked. Okay, but if you want to do it, but that's possible. Okay, it doesn't matter if you want to get into IT from any other domain. Okay, so sir, I want to crack the Amazon business analyst fresher role or ML summer. Okay, ML summer school Amazon internship. Do you have any roadmap? Please share. Business analyst. Okay, so make sure you have the enough skills with respect to the tools. Okay, I mean like it could be data warehouses, databases. Okay, SQL. Okay, so SQL command has to be strong, and moreover, the if you're looking for business, to make sure you have the strong skills in the any of the domain uh, um, business domain. Okay, in statistics. Okay, so make sure you're good in statistics, Excel. Okay, so are the basic skills, they're must skills. Okay, a roadmap in the sense, I mean like you can just master this whatever I just mentioned it, right? So if you started with the Excel, okay, so just move on to the SQL. Okay, learn more about the SQL, NoSQL databases. Then of course you need to know the data warehousing concepts, BI tools. Okay, rather than plotting the charts, you should know like how to use those charts. Okay, in what type of analysis, right? So the types of analytics, predictive, okay, so descriptive stats. Okay, so all this things is very important. All right. Okay, so Shahzad Khan is asking, have a telecom background. Now I want to move to the IT field and start from AWS. Yes, you can do that. Okay, so as I told you, right, so you can just start it from here. AWS, you can just target for AWS Cloud Practitioner. So we have a number of resources. You can just learn it. Okay, so and of course this is a proctored exams. Okay, if you want this as a certified, you need to pay certain amount for the exam. You need to get you need to go to the centers and you need to pass with certain criteria, certain pass percentage, then you will be certified as a cloud practitioner. But it's not an end. Of course you need to get into the next level. uh, but there is a career. Okay, if you are focusing on the cloud, because now almost all the companies are on the cloud, right? No, not almost, I mean all the companies are in the cloud. Okay, respective whether it's AWS, Azure, or there they have the private what a cloud service. Okay, they have their internal cloud services. So once you know the concept of how the cloud is working, so I mean like irrespective of whatever the providers, cloud providers you're using it, you can easily switch. I mean like can learn it easily, because if you know the AWS, it's easy for you to learn the GCP and the Azure as well. Okay, you can start with any of these cloud providers. Okay, but if you know one, then easily you can just switch to other one. Yes, it's costly. Yeah. So in terms of cost, it completely, I think it depends on the country as well as that need to be checked. Okay. I'm not right now. What is the exam fee? I'm exactly. I don't know about that. I need to check. Okay. But it depends. Okay. I think it depends on the country and the region as well. Okay. And what exam you're taking up. Okay. Completely depends on that. All right. So should I need to do MTech or MCA or join some MTech institute to enter into IDs? Because see, if you have done the BCom, okay, what in which sector you want to get into, Mayank? But okay, okay. See, if you want to do a degree, I'm like you want to get into the IT. If you want to get into IT, doesn't mean that you are doing the MTech or whatever the degree is. Okay, you can just learn for you can focus on the skills part. Okay, you can just do some good certifications. I mean, like in terms of whatever the role you're targeting for. Okay, so if you want to get into some good role, it doesn't mean that you need to do the MTech and get into that. Okay, but if you have interest of doing the MTech, yes, you can just proceed with that. But if your goal is to get into IT sector through the MTech, I think that's not a right thing. Okay, I mean, like, you can just do get into that without MTech also. Okay, but if you're looking for higher education, so then you can get into MTech and right? And because you asked about the criteria, okay, you need to check that. Okay, so what are the criteria to get into the MTech? So because you're from the BComs, I don't have idea about it. Like if they are taking up the BCom students, okay, for the MTech program. So generally, for the MTechs, you should have some criteria, right? In terms of subjects you have taken in the BTech. So mostly, I think it's no. You can just re-verify like wherever you want to apply it. I mean, like in terms of universities. Okay, but if you're targeting for IT, so make sure you have the enough skills. Okay, so it doesn't matter, you're not doing, if you're not doing MTech degree, that's okay, but you just try learning this kind of services and try to get certified. Okay, and so I think that will help you in the longer run. Okay, rather than doing the MTech. But if your goal is to do the higher education, then that could be a right choice. So along AWS, what should I do? Okay, so here if you can start with this cloud practitioner, okay, and so this is a roadmap, okay. So once you're done with this cloud machine, you can just think of like if you want to become an architect, okay, solution architect or operations, okay, you want to get into operations. When you see operations, again, it's all the services which you'll be learning, okay. It will be more focused on the operations side. If you want to get into development side, okay, you can just do the AWS certified developer associate, then this is an optional. Okay, so if you're done this, you can just go to this. Okay, so this is the map. Okay, in case you want to do, if you have done the AWS cloud practitioner, you have done the developer, but you want to do the specialty in machine learning or the data analytics, yes, could be a also possible. Okay, but if you are done the cloud practitioner, so you can just select one of this associate level, then go to the advanced level. Okay, a professional level. Okay, or then finally specialty. Okay, it's like a levels, right? All right. So any other questions? Let me know if you have any other questions. All right. You can just connect with me. Okay. So yes, we have this AWS masters. Okay. It's like getting started. Okay. If you don't know anything about the cloud, you can just start from here, and slowly you can just keep on learning the other things. Okay. Yes, yes, you need to learn Python and Linux as well, Shahzad. Okay. Yes. Python is must. Okay. So you need to know you should learn Python. Yeah, Mayank, that is quite tricky question because so but there are people, okay. I mean, like you can say it's based on their luck or not luck. I mean, like hard work, of course. Generally, we say like skills, okay, but to get into the resume process, until the resume process should have certain qualifications. um, but that's where, okay, I mean, like that's where, like, you need to show up your skills. Okay, LinkedIn, okay, just whatever you're doing it, just show up in terms of projects. Okay, so this way you can just make a transition. Okay, but if you want to start it from scratch, so you can just connect me with months. Okay, I'll just look into the universities. Okay, if it is possible, then I can just reach out regarding that. Okay, I can just guide you better. Okay, so I don't know much about you. I mean, like because you were asking about the MTech thing, can just connect me through LinkedIn. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you for attending. So next webinar from my side would be Azure or GCP. Okay, we'll learn some of the services. You'll get an idea like how it basically works, right? So in today's webinar, I just showed you static website using S3 as well as EC2, just to give an like brush up. Okay, so how this is how the cloud works, right? And so if you're new to cloud, of course, everything seems like so complicated. Okay, so many options, so many drop downs. Again, that you'll be learning slowly. Okay, if you're new to AWS. All right. So thank you all. Thank you for joining. Okay, so we'll meet in the next webinar. Okay, bye. Take care.